It's 2025, so what's the market doing in Southeast Michigan right now, and is it really the best time for you to buy or sell? Well, I can't answer that question for you, but today I want to give you a quick market update, specifically in Washtenaw County, and we're going to take a look at some of the listing prices, some pending sales, and how many days are on the market, and we're going to weigh a few things to figure out if this is the right time for you to buy or sell. But before we get into it, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a new video. Okay, so for Washtenaw County, and this is as of January of 2025, as far as new listings go, new houses on the market, we've seen a total of 235. Now, that's up 29.1% from last year. Last year, we had 182. So this is looking really good for Washtenaw County. We have new listings up. And as a buyer, this means that you don't have quite as much competition coming in as you did last year. You may not have to be competing against as many offers because there's just more houses on the market. Now, as a seller, you'll want to be looking at this, and yeah, sure, there's an increase in inventory and you need to weigh that. But I can tell you right now, if we look at months supply of inventory, we're only at 1.8 months. So if all of the houses that were on the market right now sold, and we did not put any new houses on the market, that would mean we'd run out in less than 2 months. So as a seller, this isn't really something to worry about, but it is important to know that you're pricing your house competitively and not trying to ask for more than what your house is worth. Because if you try to do that, you're going to drive away buyers and end up not even getting close to what top dollar could have been for your house. So this is where working with a real estate professional who knows the market and can price your home appropriately comes in really handy. As far as pending sales go, we are down 25%, a little over. Pending sales at this time last year was 152, this year it's 113. This just means that buyers really aren't jumping right into getting under contract right away. They're not willing to sacrifice their inspection or sacrifice their appraisal. They're taking their time and making sure they're making informed decisions, which is a good thing as a buyer. Closed sales are the same though. So last year we had 122 closed sales in January. This year we have 122 closed sales in January. Again, not a bad thing, not at all. This shows that even though there's fewer pending sales, these sales are still getting closed. So you may look at that and say, well, how is there 122 closed sales and 113 pending sales? There was probably some sales that started end of December that carried over into this month, and so that's counted towards that. Days on market right now, we're sitting at 64, so a little over 2 months. This is up. Last year, the average days on market till sale was about 49. So this is just something to expect, especially if you're selling. You're going to want to expect that it's going to take you a little longer to sell your house. It may not sell in a weekend the way it did before. Not saying it's not possible. Anything is possible, but it's important to adjust your expectations. And buyers, again, you want to make sure you walk through the house. You want to make sure that you are keeping your eyes wide open, that you're getting an inspection done, having that appraisal done. It's super important that you weigh all of your options and make sure this is the best possible decision for you. And now we're looking sellers, you'll be interested in this. The percentage of the listing price received is up, not by much, but by almost 0.5%. Last year, the percentage of list price received in Washtenaw County was 97.8. This year, we're sitting at 98.2. Average sales price has decreased a small bit by about 0.5%. The average sales price this time last year was $464,000. This year, it's $462,000 and some change for both of those. I'll put those numbers up on the screen. And our median sales price has gone up from $393 and some change last year to $397 and some change this year. So overall, market's looking pretty strong in Washtenaw County, and not a whole lot has changed. Things are stabilizing a bit more, which is really good because the craziness that was the market of a couple years ago wasn't really the best thing for buyers or sellers, really. And sellers that were selling their home were having to jump right into that buyer's market at the same time. So it's important that you sit down and you weigh out these decisions and these questions for you. It doesn't really matter what I think, to be honest. It doesn't really matter what the market is doing. If you have to move, you have to move. So it's important to be well informed. If you need to buy a house, you need to buy a house. The alternative is renting, and rent over time goes up, whereas your house payment will be, for the most part, pretty well fixed. So if you're looking to buy a house in today's market, what are some things that you need to be doing? Well, number one, you need to make sure that you're saving up for your down payment and your closing costs. If you don't have any savings, we do have down payment assistance programs, and right now, the beginning of the year is the best time to look into those because all of those grants and all of that funding is full. But when the money runs out, the money runs out. It's important for you to take stock of where you're at financially. If you can save more for your down payment, your monthly payment's going to be less. And putting away money for closing costs is also pretty important because if you don't have money for closing costs, it's going to be really hard to close on the sale. The other thing that you need to consider is making sure that your credit score is as high as you can get it. Listen, credit is finicky, and sometimes it's hard if you're carrying a lot of debt to get pre-approved with a good rate for a mortgage. Right now, just as stands, if you have good credit, the interest rate is sitting at about 7.25%. So 7.25%, you may not get that if you don't have a good credit score. You may be getting an 8% interest rate if you don't have a good credit score. So do what you can to save money and to make sure that your credit is as good as you can get it. And then it's important that you prioritize what is important to you in a house. Go through, make a list. You can dream and go through and figure out, ooh, I would love it if it had a bay window. I would love it if it had a pool. I would love it if it had a fill in the blank with whatever you may want. And go through and then just kind of rank it at how important these things are to you. Maybe it's super important to you to have a short driveway so that you don't have a lot to shovel in the winter. Maybe it's super important to you to have a small yard. You don't want to maintain a lot. Maybe it's important to you to have vaulted ceilings and you like open concept. That's great. But you got to figure out what is important to you and kind of rank how important it is. Because when you're looking for a house, there are going to be things, no matter the house, that you're going to have to decide, ooh, I may not like that, but can I live with it? So you're going to want to weigh out all these things, make a list of the things that are must-haves, the things that you absolutely do not want, and the things that you would just like or maybe wouldn't like, and kind of rank that out, at least mentally, if not on paper, to know what you want. That helps out your realtor so much when it comes to finding you a house. And it helps focus that search so you're not wasting time looking at 20 houses when there were only 5 that you really needed to look for. So make sure you have money saved for your down payment and closing costs. Make sure your credit score is good. Know what you want. And then the next thing is to get pre-approved for a mortgage. It makes my job a lot easier and it makes the process shorter for you if you come to me with a pre-approval letter in hand. When you come to me with that pre-approval letter, I can get started for you right away. But if you don't have yourself pre-approved for a mortgage, I gotta wait to get that document before I can really even show you anything. So getting pre-approved right away before you come to me is a huge help, and it makes our process go a lot smoother. Another thing that kind of goes along with the financial end of things is make sure you know how much you can afford. Sit down with your finances and figure out what a realistic monthly payment can be for you. That will also help us narrow our search. So if you sit down and know your monthly payment, the maximum monthly payment that you can afford is $1,800 a month or $1,500 a month, and your pre-approval letter comes back and says that you're pre-approved for up to a $2,300 a month payment, well, I can't go show you that. I don't want to go show you a house that's that $2,300 a month payment and have you not able to afford anything else outside of that home. So that's something that you've got to do your own homework on. Make sure that you weigh that. See if there's things, if a house is just perfect and you love it and it's a little bit more, know what fat you can trim off of your budget and just know what's really important. It may be that you end up with a house that's smaller because the monthly payment is right, but you're better off staying afloat financially than trying to stretch yourself for a house that you can't really afford. The last thing we want is to get you into a house and have you really happy with it and then end up in foreclosure. So make sure that you go through and weigh out your budget and know exactly how much, or at least a range. Maybe you say, I know I can spend between $1,400 and $1,600 a month on my house payment. Great. That helps me out immensely. And then, like I said, the bigger the down payment, the less the monthly house payment. So if you can spend some time saving for that down payment, or maybe you've already saved for that down payment, that will help out your monthly budget as well. So we'll sit down and crunch those numbers, but it's important that you know how much you can afford each month. Then the last thing that I would say, if you're looking to buy a house in 2025, like I said, make sure you're saving for that down payment and closing costs. and you're looking into any programs maybe that can help you, make sure your credit score is good, get pre-approved, and work with a realtor, know your monthly budget. And the last thing is, do not skip your home inspection. Add that into something that you're budgeting for. A home inspection is anywhere from $400 to $700 depending on the inspector that you use, and it's so important. You might say, well, Lydia, I have an FHA loan. I already have an inspection. But the loan inspections that may happen, those are more so for the mortgage company to know that they're protected. It's not so much to know every single thing that's wrong with the house. It's important as you go in buying a house, you have your eyes wide open and you know what you may have to fix in the next few years, or maybe it's several years. It's important that you know that going in. The last thing you want to do is buy a house and then all of a sudden something's wrong with the roof, but you didn't get an inspection. It's important to know that. And if we do find something, we can negotiate that with the seller. Or you may just decide, you know what, I want to walk away. I don't really know that I want to deal with this problem. Good, at least you know it, and you only made a $400 or $500 mistake and not a $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 mistake. You can call around to different home inspection companies and get the best bang for your buck, but it's important that you get one done so that you know what you're going into this house with. So if you're looking to buy or sell in 2025, I hope that this video was a help to you. Again, it's just important to know what's going on in the market and what exactly to expect. Trying to time the market, whether that's with interest rates, with prices coming down, you're waiting for the real estate bubble to bust. You know, I don't have a glass ball. I don't know what's going to happen in the future here. But what I can tell you is you need to just sit down and find out what is best for you and if it's the right time for you to buy or sell. Going through and weighing all of these questions can be really, really instrumental in helping you know what your next real estate move should be. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it was a help to you. If you're looking to buy or sell somewhere in Southeast Michigan in the next year, I hope you give me a call. All my contact information is in the description below. Otherwise, you can subscribe to follow along for more real estate content. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon.